Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, with us, Angel Rivo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is co-hosting with our dear Sunny Chayes. Sunny is not only the host of this show, but she's also the host of ABC Solutionary Sundays. She is a feature writer and chief strategist for the Whole Life Times, the longest conscious life magazine in America. Sunny is a producer, a moderator, and a mythbusters, among the many other talents. But before starting with them and our very special guest today, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness in the planet, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment on this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, if we are live streaming, we are going to have an active chat. It's a screen you're going to be seeing here on my side or under the video in case that you're following us from a smartphone. Through there, you can interact with us if you want to. We also want you to collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content. And for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you find a link. It says collaborate with Mindalia, and that link takes you to a form that you can fill out for our technical team to be getting in contact with you. You can collaborate with Mindalia in English through Mindalia TV English, but you can also do it in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisao, in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión. Visit our different channels and platforms, like, subscribe, go to our Facebook pages and Instagram accounts. By following us, you are not only helping us reach as much people in the planet as possible, but you also keep yourself updated with the amazing information that we share there on a daily basis. I'm not delaying this any further. I have the great pleasure now of saying welcome to Mindalia live streaming, Angel, Sunny, and Christina. The screen is yours.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna, for the introduction. And welcome back. What a great pleasure to be again with you, Sunny. How are you today?
I'm doing great here in LA, California. The sun is starting to come out, and we're getting close to June 1st, which will be the 12th anniversary of my very first peace conference I ever did. And it also happens to be my birthday, but of course I never let people know it was my birthday, and it was all about the peace conference. And so every year, the month before my birthday, I always do sort of a cleaning out of things. You know, I make sure that I'm good with everybody. If there's something that I haven't done, you know, if I haven't gotten that email out, or maybe that apology, or, you know, if I owe someone something or whatever, I take the month before my birthday and I do as much as I can of cleaning up from the year, and maybe sometimes years past. So that's what I'm up to, and it feels really good, and it can be kind of painful, and it can be kind of you know, scary, but I do it. And so I'm in that process right now. That's what I'm up to. That's what I'm up to, Angel. What are you up to?
Awesome. Well, that's a great way to think about it, actually. I never thought of like cleansing or cleaning up my all the things that I have to still to do, and maybe to be in peace with a little bit of my past. But let me tell you, if I had to do that, probably I would have to go like 3 years back on my email. So that would be, what a burden. I'm trying not to get stressed. I'm trying not to get stressed, Sunny.
No. But what's fun about it is to really look and see, you know, what, I mean, it can even be from a couple of years ago, but something comes to my mind, and I sort of started May 1st, and I just sometimes have a pad with me, and I'll write something down and say, yeah, you know, I feel like that might have been a little out of sync or out of integrity, or maybe just projects that I really feel like, oh gosh, that's kind of hanging out there. I really want to get that done, or I really want to start something in my new year. And so what is the process of doing it? Or, you know, sometimes health things, like if I have a little bit of a health challenge or something that I want to make sure is really cleared up, you know, getting some of my special things that I take, you know, zeolite and all these special things that I do, or doing something new with my water, you know, something like that. So that's kind of what that's what I'm doing right now, and preparing for the next year of somehow peacemaking, somehow making a difference in our humble way that we do. So what's next for me? That's my question also for myself. What is next for me?
Beautiful. I was reading the other day something, I don't know if we mentioned it before in our show, but the concept of secret contracts. So those things that we don't talk to people, but we expect from people. So, those things that, okay, so we have a relationship on our show, and, maybe without having talked about it, I expect things from you, or you expect things from me, and we really haven't, come into terms among us, and maybe sometimes something happens and I'm not up to your expectations, or the other way around. So when you were talking about coming into peace and maybe doing all those things that you wanted to do, and preparing for an amazing year, because you're going to have an amazing year, Sunny. That's for sure.
Thank you.
So that's what's coming. That's what's coming to me. And excuse me. And I'm sure also that the fountain of abundance and the beauty of the flowers behind you, both are going to be dramatically contributing to the wealth of your upcoming 365 days, Sunny.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I want to also, one thing that I'm excited about today is I have a guest I'm bringing to Mindalia TV who I've known for a number of years now. And I met her through Marianne Williamson, actually. And she is really somebody who has given her life over, speaking of really going for it, giving her life over to something that she wasn't really planning on doing, but really felt like doing. And so to sort of set the stage, I would like to read a little bit from the We the People of the Iroquois Nation from, I'm holding this up, I think this, other way around, from the Whole Lifetimes magazine. But this is an article I wrote about what we can expect and what we can actually really have in our political situation in America. And especially now that we're having even more things happening in the news, I feel like this perhaps may ground us a little bit. So if you will indulge me, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to introduce our guest, if that's okay. So here we go. Studying the Haudenosaunee, or the Iroquois Nation, which is the oldest living participatory democracy on Earth, I'm reminded that we have before us the opportunity to insist that our leaders are the most enlightened among us. We do have in our hearts the ability to choose leaders with the highest moral action, care, and thoughtfulness in their collaborative actions. We, as a community, know what's best for us. We have the power. We can expect our politicians to return to the great law, which is just and right. Look and listen for the welfare of the whole people, and have always in view not only the present, but also the coming generations, even those whose faces are yet beneath the surface of the ground, the unborn of the future nation. We can inspire, we can create an inspirational movement if we can dream and truly believe in a better way. Let's remember that the soul of America is ultimately one of kindness and caring. As Abraham Lincoln reminds us, let's reveal the better angels of our nature.
Beautiful.
So, thank you. So with that, I want to bring on Christina Tobin, who is the founder and creator and brainchild of an organization called Free and Equal. And the tagline is more voices, more choices. And what she's been doing, among many, many other things, creating events and creating areas where people can really come together and dive into what this really means. And she's also given the opportunity in different events that she's created with her organization to allow people who are not just the Democrat and Republican. In other words, let's move the conversation out to the other parties that we actually have in America. And as we know, Washington, or some of us may know, that Washington even really suggested very strongly against the two-party system, and thought that having more parties was a healthier way to be moving through our democracy here in America 200 years ago. And as we know, we've sort of fallen literally fallen to the two-party system here now. And so Christina's here today to enlighten us about what we can do, and she's just a font of information, and there are many, many other fabulous things I can say about her. And we'll just chat about those. We'll drop those in, if that's okay with Christina, as we chat. So let's bring on Christina to our conversation.
Welcome, Christina. Welcome to Mindalia TV. How are you today?
Pleasure being here. I'm doing well. How are you, Angel?
Very well, thank you. So, I mean, after what Sunny just said, oh my God, what else can I add? There's nothing to be added. So, tell us more about how how do you feel today? How do you feel your mission is being accomplished?
I would say that it's been a little over 20 years now that I've been and evolved now into an electoral reform expert. I started at 17 years of age, and seeing my father run for governor of Illinois and wrongfully knocked off the ballot, and seeing the electoral system having a lot of room for improvement. As far as what's going on in the world today, it is very clear to me that we as a nation, not only the United States of America, but as a world, need to stand united more than ever. That's what I see. I see a lot of divisiveness directly inflicted, created by big money, the powers that be, that are tied to the Federal Reserve Note created in 1913, to the mainstream media. Rupert Murdoch having ties to the powers that be, to Hollywood and music, the one-party system. It's really one party, not even a two-party system, I feel. I see that there's a lot of intentional divisiveness that creates this chaos, and which results into war, needless death, needless harm. And however, I do feel strongly that love will and is always greater than fear, and love will prevail. And when we unite as a nation here in the United States of America, we will prevail. Love. And thank you for that opening with the Iroquois. I really resonate, as in the last several months I've spent more time and been mentored by those in the Lakota Way Healing Center, and tied the actual leaders who sparked the creation of Standing Rock. So their words of wisdom, really to jump from the party world for decades into technology and spirituality and the indigenous world. It's been a very mind-opening experience for me. And so thank you for having me today. These are just some random thoughts, and I feel very fortunate to be in a position to hopefully help bring about peace throughout the United States and the world.
Thank you. Well, I would love for you to kind of explain a little bit about what Free and Equal is for people who don't know.
Thank you. It's a nonprofit 501c3 organization whose mission is to broaden electoral choices through education and direct positive action. And as the 2008 National Ballot Access Coordinator, I worked for independent presidential candidate Ralph Nader and organized a team that successfully got him on the ballot in 45 states plus DC. And we didn't have enough money for all 50 states. Democrats and Republicans, to give you an idea, to get on the ballot, it takes them about 25,000 or so signatures to get on the ballot for president. If you want to run as an independent, let's say Marianne Williamson or Tulsi Gabbard doesn't get past the Democratic primary, they have to collect over 900,000 signatures. So over 800,000 to get on the ballot in all 50 states as independent for president. So serving as the ballot access coordinator for Ralph Nader, and as that role completed, him and I went to the DNC one day, and this was the spark in the creation of free and equal elections in this moment. He looked at all of the press and said, Christina, I could interview with all the press here at the DNC and I wouldn't reach but 3 to 5% of what the Commission on Presidential Debates reaches. And this light bulb went off in my head. What's the Commission on Presidential Debates? And I've learned it is one of the most, if not powerful, tools that the two-party, one-party system, powers that be, uses to create this false illusion that there are only two parties. It's run by the former chair of the Democratic and Republican parties, and the League of Women Voters even retracted their support from the CBD, Commission on Presidential Debates, in 1988, stating it has perpetuated a fraud on the American voters, and it has. So that stemmed the creation of Free and Equal Elections in 2008, when we hosted a presidential debate with independent Ralph Nader and Constitution Party candidate, that's far left, far right political views, Chuck Baldwin, at the Mayflower Hotel in DC. And that was the first time historically any presidential debate outside of the Commission on Presidential Debates was nationally televised, which it was on C-SPAN too. That was moderated by Chris Hedges in 2012. Mr. Larry King and I co-moderated a presidential debate that reached, well, about 1.1 billion households. Not sure how many people actually watched it, maybe tens of millions, hundreds of millions. And then in 2016, Mr. Ed Asner and I, Lou Grant, also a friend of mine, of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, we co-moderated the presidential debate in 16, and we're already planning for our 2020. So that is really the heart in the creation of Free and Equal Elections, and we have expanded into other projects as well since then.
So you're so fantastic, and I'm excited to hear when we get closer to your debate in 2020 what's going to be happening. I know there are a lot of hurdles that the Democratic, well, at this point the contenders are over 20, need to go through, and it's pretty rigorous, but it's also a little bit more grassroots. In other words, I was listening to some of the pundits speaking about the idea that the DNC has for having the people be more connected to the grassroots. So even getting $1 donations, it's a number, it's the number 65,000 donations to get on the stage is one of the things that they need to do. And so I'm encouraged a little bit to see a bit of a more, how shall I say, grassroots kind of reaching out, not so elitist, strategy here with the DNC. I know you're a little bit not big on either one of them, so. Well,
actually, they're different. They're different from the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is after the primary. So
I see. I see.
Different debates.
Yeah.
So, I was listening to what you were saying, Christina, and it's just fascinating, as Sunny was saying. So, what do you think? The first question is, do you think that people on the streets, people that eventually they're able to vote on an election, do they know what you just said? Do you think that's like something that the public knows?
Well, I was still thinking with what Sunny said before, and I'm all for more debates. I love that there's debates happening, the Democratic debates, more voices, more choices, more debates. It's great. And I do see a lot more candidates in the first round of debates. I just saw an article come out tomorrow that the third round of the Democratic debates, the threshold has risen significantly. So it will prove challenging for seemingly outsiders, primarily the polling. They have to reach a certain amount in the poll, and the polls are rigged. I've seen that very clearly in the 20 years. They are completely rigged to keep outsiders out of the final round of Democratic debates. So I'll send you a link because a Serbian journalist, Jovan, sent that to me yesterday. So I just wanted to relay that message. I was like,
can I, Christina, with that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but regarding that, because if we feel that the polls are rigged, or if you're saying that is indeed true, is there something we can do about that? As far as, should we put our voice in the polls? We get these things online, we get these things asking us questions about what we like and everything. Often, like every day, I get them. Do you think it makes sense? Do you suggest that we actually answer those polls? Like, if more of us do, it might make a difference, or no?
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. Like George Washington said, like Marianne Williamson says a lot in her messaging, is that, and in my perspective more so, is parties don't work. Our Constitution has no mention of parties. George Washington said parties are evil. I've seen as parties become larger, even within the National Libertarian and Green Party, they eventually become infiltrated because they attract people who want power. So I guess the real question is, do you trust the people and the party system that are putting on the Democratic and Republican debates? I really don't. Do you trust the people who are putting on these polls? I guess instead of saying rigged, a softer way of saying it would say there's really a lot of room for improvement on both platforms. So I think the solution is an alternative platform. I mean, of course, with our presidential debates, I'm going to plug that, but I welcome more people to put on presidential debates and gubernatorial debates. It's very challenging. I would say the most difficult part in putting on the presidential debates has been getting candidates to confirm. I mean, I mean, even of the third parties and independents, that is you're dealing personalities and politics. And so I hope that answers your question. And Angel, I wanted to answer yours too.
Yes, I was thinking, so, but how do you do it? How do you do it to be sitting next to, all these people on those debates? How do you do it?
I stay above in the sense, I just love ideas. I really do. And I love helping to build ideas. I love helping to build people. I'm very loyal on those who help give to Free and Equal. I like to give that tenfold, pay it forward. So I guess you could say, I'm pretty seasoned. I'm different from when I was 17. I'll be 38 this June 17th, so pretty close to Sunny and the June realm. And where I was at 17, I feel like a lot of people that are getting engaged in politics for the first time, especially with the recent election of our president, are a bit more emotional. And I take myself back to when I was 17. I was a little bit more, whoa, what happened to my dad? Why does he have to get 25,000 signatures as a third party candidate to get on the ballot, and the D's and R's only have to get 5,000 for governor in Illinois? Like I was a lot more reactive to this, like the people are today. So I that's how I connect. As far as when I sit there as a co-moderator, my role is to protect the integrity of the organization. And if I feel a co-moderator like Ed Asner, Larry King, or Chris Hedges that we had in the past is not being fair, even if a mainstream Democrat and Republican join our debate, I would not compromise the integrity of free and equal elections with truly giving everyone a free and equal voice and choice to be heard. So my role is just to protect an organization and potentially a true movement that's deeply rooted. That is for the people. I'm building this for the people.
It was so great when we've done a few shows together, and one of the shows that we did was so great with Marianne Williamson and Dennis Kucinich, and to be able to bring the four of us together in a conversation was pretty powerful. And I do feel I'm enjoying hearing from a lot of the people. I mean, I'm one that I love to chat myself, but I also love to hear other people chat. So I love to be hearing people like Mayor Pete Buttigieg and just the different Andrew Wang and different people who have maybe, well, Pete is rising a little bit, but just kind of the not so usual suspects. It's so interesting to me, and I feel at this point again, when I was reading this article, that there is the possibility, there is the need, I feel at this point, for really, really profound, creative, bold ideas to come and just kind of break through, what we have been doing. And even if it means that it's somebody who decides, like Marianne Williamson decided to run Democratic, even though when she ran for Congress, she was independent, to come through. I mean, I'm still hoping for the best. As most people know, I have family in politics as well. And, I've seen it from being a little girl, and I've seen it move from what I thought was very high integrity. At least it was so much about the conversation, and it wasn't, and the people's ideals and goals and behavior in politics and what they accomplished, as opposed to all these, very personal things that have become front and center stage. It kind of shocks my sensibilities when I see these conversations. I mean, it was starting with Clinton and the blue dress, all that. It's like, what has happened, people? So I'm still hopeful, and I'm seeing a lot of people coming out. So I don't know, Christina, do you feel encouraged with what's happening?
I have to, because the ladder's not an option. I'm not one to give up. I set a goal and I work hard to achieve that goal. And just like getting Ralph Nader on the ballot in 45 states plus DC was a Herculean task. And the previous election, the Democratic Party knocked him off successfully in 32 states. I had to use a lot of strategy to offset that. I would have helped Dr. Ron Paul get on the ballot. His number one reason he said why he didn't run as an independent in '08 was because of the restrictive ballot access barriers. It costs 7 to 10 million minimum to get on the ballot as an independent for president, upwards of 20 million if you announce very last minute. Because I did a bid for Jim Webb in the past, and even the Trump team asked for information about what it takes to run as an independent from my petitioning company, Free and Equal Inc. So yes, I feel that there are more of us than there are of them. Angel, how do I stay neutral? I really see that we can agree on more things, far more things across the political spectrum than not. And that is not an illusion. The two-party system, the fact, the Commission on Presidential Debates creating an illusion that there's only two parties. Yes, that's an illusion. But there are far more of us than there are of them. And it's really beautiful to hear, I think, the world of Dennis Kucinich. I don't know Marianne quite as well, but I commend her on running as an independent for Congress. I think it was actually the top two primary that big money passed in California in 2010. I led the national efforts to try to defeat that, is what kept her from making it past the primary as an independent for Congress. Very unconstitutional. But in any case, I see her and many others, even Trump, using the party line to get elected. No matter our personal feelings on Trump, I have found that two things that I have found so far that everybody can agree on with him getting elected, because I focus on the good, is that people are more engaged than ever, right, into the political process. This is great. This is great. And number two, he is an outsider of the system that won. I mean, that is just like, that really opens up the world for an independent presidential candidate to potentially win, if not in 20, more likely 24, very likely in 28. And I will be very open to getting the right candidate on the ballot that I will pour my heart into. So,
well, absolutely.
Thank you,
So
Sunny. Yeah, I was gonna.
mm-hmm.
No, excuse me. That this is fascinating, Sunny. I'm so much loving this connection with Christina today. Let me ask you a question, because you used two words that have left me thinking since you mentioned them today. Build. I build people. You build people. So the thing is, okay. So probably there's a set of ideas that we would all agree that would reunite people in this country. What would it take to build someone that would, that from those ideas eventually would be someone running for office for president?
Well, I don't know if I'm one to. This takes me right to the solution not being to build walls, but to build bridges, right? And this takes me right to a true heroine that I had. It makes me almost teary-eyed out of love, really, and compassion for this woman, mother and voting rights matriarch Amelia Boynton Robinson of Selma. And
Yes.
this woman, I may have been the last person to interview her. She was slated to be our keynote speaker for our United We Stand concert. I haven't spoken about that yet. We've had from 2014 to 19, and now is a tour this year. And so real change, starts from the bottom on up. It's not going to be social media. It's not going to be mainstream. These are tools, but it's going to be from the ground up. And what Mother Amelia Boynton Robinson taught me, having in the 1920s in a buggy wagon, registering people to vote with her mother, an African-American woman, her mom and her, And then she ran for Congress, I think it was the 60s in Georgia, garnering 10% of the vote as an African-American woman. She was the spark in Selma that brought Martin Luther King in. People don't talk about this. Her and her husband for 30 years built this community in Selma, and it was Amelia that marched across the bridge. That was a Bloody Sunday, right? That was beaten, tear gassed, and left for dead, and she lived. And it was because of her march. Martin Luther King did not come in yet, and she led that. That led into the Bloody Sunday, March of Montgomery, Bloody Sunday, that historically changed our world for 50 years. Well, I don't know if you can put a number on that. And that resulted or inspired the creation of the Voting Rights Act I should know my years, of 60, I think 65, is it?
Yeah.
I should know that. I just looked it up. That former Attorney General Ramsey Clark actually drafted a friend and supporter of free and equal elections as well. And so full circle, this bridge and building bridges has, I feel, should not be named after Edmund Pettus, who's a Ku Klux Klan member. I foresee someday this bridge being renamed, and it is my goal in helping to build bridges and helping to build others, even those who are, well, maybe here spiritually, not in, but like Amelia will always be. And so to meet somebody of that magnitude, I strive to be anywhere like somebody of that magnitude. But she said in this interview that I had with her, maybe the last one, I have no fear. She also said her mother taught her, be sure you're right, then go ahead. And so these are just some thoughts of how, for me, and wanting to help build others, this woman helped build a bridge that ignited. And then we can go even further back into the American Revolution, where it took, well, only, but yes, 3% of the population to bring about that real change, hope. So I don't listen to the system. We know with previous presidents that have used the change, hope. It's all strategic manipulation, that letting people down, but it really does exist. And I feel that when people, and then that's ignited through a movement that's not even just free and equal elections, it's the umbrella group, it's the people and the groups and the independent media, you guys being attracted to that, that is what's going to truly help build others, is that platform. I'm simply carrying a baton, and that's my role, to help build others.
Well, Christina, what I feel that you can do for us, and what I feel, of course, Angel and I do, and again, the independence as much as possible, and the perhaps a bit with Marianne and others, is to know that we do have this power. You know, we are the people. We, the people, you know, we are the people. And we do actually, even though if things are rigged or this or that, I mean, I understand, and that can make a person feel a deep feeling of futility and anger and frustration. At the same time, with enough of us getting on a certain board, you know, getting on board, not on that kind of board, but getting on board in a certain direction, you know, all in our kayaks going the same way, perhaps, or just really expecting, like I read earlier, expecting our people to be the highest among us in integrity and nobility and forward thinking and creativity and all of that. If we can keep that, you know, Angel and I started the hashtag Solo Amor, Capitol Hill. And it's like, you know, it is about the love, and it is about the love in Capitol Hill and all around. So I just keep feeling that people like you, that's why I was so happy to have you on the show, so that you could allow people to know that there is hope, that there are people like you who are doing things. And we may feel, oh, it's all going sort of this way, but there are other people who are going another way, and, you know, mixing it up, cracking it open, and trying to make a more fair sense of all of this. So I really applaud you for what you do. Thank you so much.
Feelings mutual. Thank you, Sunny and Angel. And I recently had a private call with Dr. Ron Paul, former congressman, Republican out of Texas, and former Congressman Dennis Kucinich, who we spoke of earlier. And also on that call was Colin Cantrell of Nexus Earth, that's really big into the crypto blockchain voting world. And his father, Jim Cantrell of Vector Space, who is also the co-founder of SpaceX with Elon Musk. So it's the five of us. And Dr. Ron Paul stated that in that call, when an idea comes, nothing will get in its way. And Mr. Dennis Kucinich, yes, these are messages I carry with me to heart. And Mr. Kucinich said during that call, the synergy of elections and technology will create something unrecognizable. And so I really took this to heart. And so when the presidential debates really took off in 2012 with Larry King, I realized free and equal election is going to have to really spread its wings beyond the debates. Okay, let's do this. And we announced the first stop of our United We Stand concert in 2014 at UCLA's Poly Pavilion. During that call with Dr. Ron Paul, he also stated, which came out of, I was like, wow, he felt that one of the biggest threats is the university system. And so not to go too much into the detail of it, but in any case, we had Public Enemy to Larry King to Marianne Williamson to founding members of Wu-Tang Clan, Brother Ali, Immortal Technique, the list goes, Dennis Kucinich, Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, Dr. Bronner's Magic. So just so many different leaders and musicians and independent media as well confirmed on our stage. And unfortunately, it was canceled 5 days out. And we are going into a hearing this June 24th. Free and Equal Elections has sued UCLA for a breach of contract. I strongly feel it was politically motivated after reading 500 pages of internal details between the dean administration. But the reason we have filed this is just standing up for what's right. And what they did was wrong. And in any case, we haven't fully come back from that moment, because when a seed of doubt's planted and the system makes you out to be maybe incapable or, attacks your character for whatever political reasons they did. But you know what? We still moved forward. The United We Stand concert in 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And now this year, we're holding our second United We Stand concert down in Texas on June 4th, July, that is 4th weekend, July 4th through 6th. And it's on a beautiful piece of land called Need Peace. And it's in support of our veterans with PTSD. We had our first stop at Earth Week, April 27th, up in Fort Wayne, Indiana. That was beautiful, the 14th annual Earth Week. It was successful. Organizers on the ground building these events for United We Stand concerts, like a dream come true, coming in 2 days out, and it's there. It's just there. And our third stop will be this October 5th in Colorado. We're teaming up with a festival out there, and we're going to be announcing this event being in support of the 100th anniversary of the women's suffrage rights, voting rights. And so that is very dear to me as an empowered woman. There are a few of us, Angel, that lead nonprofit organizations, maybe like Free and Equal Elections. And I feel honored to be an empowered woman. Some people say it's women's time. That will come and go. It's really the individual's time. It's beyond, I feel, gender and race and age and even height. but it's really exciting to see this tour happening, and also the suit against UCLA being done the end of June. And I've think it's we'll see what happens there, but I'm excited to move forward in a positive solution-based direction. And finally, throughout this tour, this is so important, we're going to be launching our blockchain voting app, which is like the beating heart of Free and Equal Elections. And it is this app that will, through blockchain voting, revolutionize our voting system and bring about political transparency. So I can elaborate on that more, but I'm really excited to incorporate that into the United We Stand concert tour.
Wow, that's huge. By the way, that is why I'm wearing my white today for Women's Suffragette, in honor of you and in honor of women and in honor of the movement.
And
um,
Amelia Boynton Robinson. Wow.
yes, yes, yes. Who
She,
you had? You had her at an event or two. I remember meeting her myself, and what just a treasure, national treasure. Angel, do we have time to learn a little bit more about the app or no?
Yes, no, absolutely. We have time, and I would love to. Obviously, as a technology guy, I would love to know more about the app, and also I would like to know, because you, Sunny, you said that you have known her for quite a while. How
Yes,
lucky, how lucky, and
yes.
how blessed. So, and I would like to know, how does she feed? I mean, where does she feed this passion, this energy? How does she do it? But please, go ahead.
well, Angel, there's been times, with the debacle back in 14, that UCLA thing, the difficulties of getting candidates to confirm for a debate. That's like, hey, more voices, more choices. I've been like, whoa. But I just didn't see anything else rising, Angel, something that I felt and knew, having I guess the gift of foresight, but more so because I'm connected to so many people, different worlds. I can see things very clearly. I knew there'd come a day where censorship would come about, where what's happened to Assange would happen. You look at the NDA, the Patriot Act, it could get a little bit uncomfortable. I don't want to feed into scary fear. And my conscience just could not let me I could not do this. Like, I'm like, all right, you're just going to keep pushing through this. Maybe you're your father's daughter. I mean, my dad's, run his organization for 40, 45 years, fighting taxes throughout the United States, Illinois, for the people. Even did a protest back in the 70s, which resulted in people not paying their income tax. He's, very against the Federal Reserve, created 1913 simultaneously with the income tax, which, feeds and funds the wars, right? World War II and so on. So I think that maybe being around it a little bit growing up, to my conscience and my heart, I knew there'd come a day that this organization may be needed more than ever. And the whole world is watching America. I found that we've had far more international coverage toward this organization than in here in the United States, which is really good, I feel, in the sense that international media is far more awake than America, and the people, I think, as well. But the whole world is watching the United States of America, and when we rise together and as united we stand, they're going to do their research, from the Sanders to the Paul to the Naders to the Andersons to the Perot, and I feel confident they will support free and equal elections. It's truly pure. We've had offers to sell out, to buy out. No, sorry, no thanks, not for sale. So that is what keeps me going, knowing that I could not be okay with knowing that by not continuing with this Herculean task and organization, that it could result in a lot more needless negativity, maybe for years and decades and centuries to come. I could consciously not be okay with that. So here I am, and the election system app will list every single blockchain election system app, free and equal elections. It's to be powered by Nexus Earth, Colin Cantrell. Actually, he put on an event at Aspen Institute 2 years ago, which Dr. Ron Paul, Dennis Kucinich, Jesse Ventura, Ed Asner were all a part of. And so he'll be building the coding for the blockchain voting app, as well as others. It will list every single Democrat, Republican, third party, independent candidate running for office. The blockchain ledger, it's just like you'll be able to click here to run for office, click here how to get on the ballot, click here to learn about independent, or media, or international media, and click here to vote, click here to learn about how the blockchain ledger works. I foresee that there will come a time where we will replace most, if not every, member of Congress with accountable individuals that are not necessarily seeking to run for office, but are asked by their local community, that are already giving back to their communities. And I think they're going to have the conscience, as I have, to do that. And when they get elected, because there will be a platform that will give them a free and equal chance of getting elected, because through that app, people will connect with these candidates, whether it's Hollywood, the Larry Kings, the Chuck D's, Ed Adams, the Sonny and Angel, however, that want to give back to candidates, see the money in politics, all of those sort of things will be at our fingertips. I think when these candidates get elected, they may support implementing blockchain voting into the system. Some say with that, is there going to be a need for government or not? That's a little bit, I'm open to the ideas. I'm just starting to hear that. So that's kind of interesting, but I'm really not attached. I just want to help support what the people want and what they decide. And I think our platform can help achieve that.
Beautiful. Whoa. Well, I know that we're wrapping our time up, and I wanted to close with something. I know, Angel, you'd like me to close with something inspirational. And another article that I wrote for Whole Life Times was E Pluribus Unum, that I wrote. Let's see if I can do this without a lot of glare. And I interviewed a lot of people for this article, but the one question that I asked the Reverend and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, who I interviewed for this article, I asked him, how can we deeply connect with our, this is all in relationship to politics and voting in our way in the, you know, as we the people. How can we deeply connect with our purpose? So many of us truly desire to bring an enlightened and powerful impact, especially now with so much opportunity. And then Michael said, among other things, most progress in society doesn't come from the government. It comes from the people. It's really the people who need to think outside the box. Democracy is called a participatory government. It's about staying in the game for the long run, even when something didn't go a certain way. It's about putting our voice in, our vote in, our action in. So amen, brother. Brother Michael. So that's my parting or my finishing words today, other than thanking you so much, Christina, for being such a great friend and keeping me in your orbit all these years.
Exactly. I think we should bring Christina from time to time, just to keep us accountable. You know.
You don't need that.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think that we need to have her.
You do have 3 years of cleaning up on your email, so I mean.
Yeah, true.
Can I just say one last final quote?
Of course.
It's from Dr. Ron Paul, but I tweaked it a bit, one word. He said, if we're ever going to bring about revolutionary changes, and I drop the R and say evolutionary changes, he says two things are going to need to be involved. These two things, the youth and music. And so it's going to be fun. United We Sing concert, yes, serious times, but it's going to be fun because, I mean, that's what it's about. So I'm actually going to be backstage at Red Rocks Amphitheater June 16th, the day before my birthday, to see Trevor Hall and Knock Bear perform with the creators of Standing Rock, the documentary on Standing Rock, Lakota Way Healing. So I'm excited to really bring together all different types of genres of music across the spectrum, I guess. So youth and music, that's going to bring about rapid evolutionary change.
Beautiful. Christina, a last question. How can we find you? How can the audience reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. Free and Equal, freeandequal.org, andequal.org. And that's our handle on Facebook and Twitter, Free and Equal. And Instagram is Free and Equal Elections. So that's where you can find us. Thank you for asking.
Oh, please, absolutely. And what about you, Sunny? I know we can find you everywhere, but just in case.
You can find me here, of course, next Thursday, and you can find me on Solutionary Sundays on ABC Talk KMET, and you can find me also on UBN on iHeart and iTunes. You can just kind of put in Sunny Chayes, and then a bunch of shows come up that we've done over the time. You can even put in, I think, Sunny Chayes and Christina Tobin, and it will come up. Our show that we did, another show we did, and of course Whole Life Times, where I do a whole bunch of stuff. And you can find me also with Sunny Chayes, CHAYES, on the usual areas that people find people.
Awesome.
I think. And so much love to you, Angel. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you. I mean, yet again, thank you very much, Christina, for being with us. What a blessing. What an inspiration. Sunny, again, thank you very much for sharing the floor with me. once again. And again, to everybody, this is Angel Rebo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us today. I hope that you have enjoyed our conversation as much as we have here. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Solo more.